Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushak, choose what really matters.
We are bringing you this broadcast live from Washington, D.C., a city that offers the most interesting experience about American history. It's one of the few places in the world to be named after a leader, George Washington, the first president of the United States. In 1790, he picked this location as America's permanent seat of governance. He also oversaw the construction of the White House. And since then, Washington, D.C. has seen it all: wars, conflicts, revolutions, and compromises. It has also seen people from across the world leave an indelible mark on its identity, cultures that have provided this city with a complex yet distinctive character. Over the weekend, we set out to experience all of this firsthand, and here's what we saw. It was established on July 17, 1790, after a bitter compromise between members of the US Congress who fought for 7 years to define the concept of a federal enclave. Washington is named after the founding father and the first president of America, George Washington, who chose this as America's permanent capital. It was built on land ceded by the states of Maryland and Virginia. But since then, Washington has constantly expanded beyond its original boundaries. It has also been constantly rebuilt. In 1812, America declared war on Great Britain. And 2 years later, the Brits invaded Washington. They set fire to federal buildings in the vulnerable capital. The city was burned to its knees. Also burnt was the White House, the Capitol, and the Congress Library. Washington had to be rebuilt. It was decorated with pieces from American history, which stand firm to this day, narrating the stories of the good times and the bad. This is the Depression Breadline sculpture. It was created in 1991, and it reminds the world of one of the darkest periods of American history, the story of the Great Depression. These are men standing in a line waiting for food. This was a time when thousands of men and women like these would stand in queues outside churches and soup kitchens, hoping to feed themselves and their families. Washington, D.C. also features memorials of the greatest of men and women born on the American soil, like the Lincoln Memorial, dedicated to its 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. It is one of the city's landmark structures. There's also the Jefferson Memorial, named after the third U.S. president, Thomas Jefferson, the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, and the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial. Interestingly, the city also features a Mahatma Gandhi Memorial. It was established by the Government of India, and it's located right across the street from the Indian Embassy in Washington, D.C. The Gandhi Memorial is just one example. People and cultures from across the world have left an indelible mark on this city's identity, providing Washington, D.C. with a distinctive character. In a city filled with war memorials, this statue stands to tell the story of Indian values of peace and non-violence. This is Palki Sharma reporting for WION from Washington, D.C. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushak, choose what really matters.